polling booth in her electorate.
Yeah, Tom, tensions really did boil over there this morning. We know the Premier's border choice really has sparked major criticism after yesterday's announcement, which says that Greater Sydney residents won't be allowed back into Queensland just yet. The rest of New South Wales can from the 3rd of November, but she was greatly criticised for keeping the borders shut for so long. But of course, we do know her rhetoric has been the fact that she's needed to keep Queenslanders safe, and she says she has done so. But in her own electorate today in Inala, she was heckled by an LNP volunteer who interrupted a press conference earlier this morning. Here's what happened.
Well, look, I've been overwhelmed. Everyone's been coming up saying thank you for keeping us safe, and that's been my #1 priority, to look after Queenslanders. And today's a really important day, and it's about Queenslanders making a choice. It's about who they want to be the Premier to actually lead the state. So that's the important choice they have to make. Okay, thank you.
Have a great day, everyone.
209,000
unemployed. 209,000 unemployed. Premier, what are you doing about the unemployed in Queensland? There's 209,000 people out of work, Premier. It's time to stop.
Nice to see everybody.
209,000 people out of work, Premier. It's about time it stopped. Open the borders. Consider the travel industry. 209,000 people out of work.
There, you've heard it exactly today. That's their secret.
That's what the LNP are campaigning on today at polling booths, about opening the polling booths.
Bully boy.
Hey, no yelling. Keep it down. Hey, no pushing, mate.
209,000 people out of work in this state.
We will change that.
209,000 people out of work, and she's ignoring these border closures.
Do you think Deb will open the borders if she's elected Premier?
Let the candidate speak.
Absolutely. Deb will do everything, really everything that now and today Queensland is in great hands. We need a Deb to move this nation and to move this Queensland, keep working, and we need sincere care. When I'm talking about sincere care, I'm talking about real care, not words. Stop talking. We don't have time for talking. Families need us. We need jobs. We need to open the borders because we need to get Queensland moving again. Tourism is nothing happening. Our small businesses are the backbone of our country, so they need to get back working. We need tourism moving.
There's 209,000 people out of work.
And we will do. Give me a chance, vote me one today, and we will do that.
209,000 people out of work in this state.
Thank you.
Get the economy moving.
So certainly some tense scenes there in the seat of Inala. Tom, we know as well, we caught up with Kate Jones. She is in the seat of Cooper, giving it over to Jonty Bush. Labor hoping to secure that. They do sit on a very comfortable margin of 10.65%. She was campaigning for Jonty today and caught up with us, saying that she does believe that it will be another Labor whitewash. We know that news poll, as you said, has Labor as the front runner right now. Here's what Kate Jones had to say.
There's no doubt that the Greens have been more active this campaign than they've ever been in the inner city seats here. As we're getting closer and closer to the election, I'm understanding that there is a stark choice between Labor that can still form majority government under the Premier's leadership, or ending up with a mixed bag and a hung parliament, which just isn't good for our economy.
Now, we do know that Labor needs 47 seats to win, 48 to keep that 2-seat majority. We know the Libs need to pick up an extra 9 seats. That's why Deb Frecklington has been hitting the hustings hard over the past 4 weeks, particularly keen to sandbag those crucial seats in Townsville. In terms of what Labor is promising, they do want a second M1 for Queensland. They're keen to get the frontline health workers back on track, pledging more than 10,000 jobs, or just under 10,000 jobs. In terms of police numbers, they want to see more than 2,000 boots on the ground by 2025. And Annastacia Palaszczuk is also keen to get that euthanasia bill passed. She said after seeing her grandmother pass away in pain, she doesn't want any other Queenslanders to experience that, and wants to give Queenslanders the choice when it comes to dying with dignity. She has made it clear that she would vote for that bill. We know Deb Frecklington is currently sitting on the fence when it comes to that. So it's set to come down to the wire tonight, Tom, when polling does officially close in the next hour or so. But it is likely that Labor will claim victory, Annastacia Palaszczuk, in the top job for a 3rd term.
Brendan, thank you. Let's go to Julia Bradley in Townsville. Labor hoping there to avoid a swing towards the LNP in 3 ultra-marginal seats. So, Julia, there'll be a lot of eyes on this when the count begins.
It's certainly a must-win for Labor. They hold on to all 3 ultra-marginal seats here in Townsville. So they're desperate to sandbag those seats. We know that things are starting to calm down, though, at polling booths across Townsville. Most people have already cast their vote and really living up to its battleground status. Tom, this morning we did see a blow-up between Katter's Australian Party candidate for Townsville, Josh Schwarz, and a passionate member of the community. Now, someone accused him of being a Nazi. He was offended, given that he's got family who were in the Holocaust.
I was at university when you were there, you liar. You absolute liar. You're a disgrace.
Anti-uranium sticker.
You are a disgrace.
Anti-uranium sticker.
Hey, Josh, just dare you.
And I'm a former member of the
That is
Queensland
disgraceful.
Compulsory preferential voting is unconstitutional. And why does Bob Katter wear such a big hat? Because he's ugly as a hat full of got to fit them all in.
In that case, mate, you should buy yourself a sombrero.
Tom, a dramatic scene then unfolded. Police actually moved in to move on this local man.
You don't need to be arrested to leave. I'm asking you to move on of your own free will.
You're obstructing me. You're obstructing me. It's an unlawful interference with political rights under Section 78 of the Queensland Criminal.
So tensions certainly boiling over at polling booths today. It really has the possibility to decide the outcome of this state election, Tom. We know that the actual seat of Townsville is the most marginal in Queensland, a razor-thin 0.4% held by Labor. They also hold the must-watch seat of Mundingborough on a 1.1% margin. Now, that was held by Disability Services Minister Coralie O'Rourke, but she recently announced she won't be recontesting because of health reasons. Now, she's been down at that polling booth in Mundingborough this morning, really trying to talk up candidate Les Walker, who'll be running in her place. But when you talk to people here in Townsville about what they're going to be thinking when they go to vote today, it's really all about the youth crime problem that is facing North Queensland. People say that not enough has been done on the issue so far.
Townsville's always had an identity crisis, and the only statistic that makes it a city is the crime rate. Anything to bring the crime rate would be a step forward, regardless of the direction.
We had my oldest boy's bike stolen last year, right in front of the shop. He just pulled up and gone, and 2 young boys took off with him and his mate's bike. The parents should be held accountable for their children.
So another thing that could also work in Dev Frecklington's favour, we heard reports that the Premier had actually been consulting some polling on whether Queenslanders liked Queensland's border stance, our border restrictions, and that was before she made the announcement yesterday that she would be reopening Queensland to more of New South Wales, excluding Sydney, come November the 3rd.
The Premier makes all of her decisions, particularly with relation to the COVID crisis that we're dealing with, based on medical advice from the Chief Health Officer. And I know both her and the Deputy Premier meet with the Chief Health Officer very regularly and take the advice from her with regards to what decisions we should be making, and does not take that process lightly at all.
So, Tom, a battleground region, we saw a swing towards the LNP at the federal election. Of course, the local LNP candidates here are hoping that that will also play out on a state level.